Mesechta Sanhedrin Daf Samach Beis Amud Aleph. We're starting from the 5th line. Zog the Gemara, Toni Rabbi Zakkai Kamed Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Zakkai had learned a brayso before Rabbi Yochanan that if Zibach V'Kita V'Nisach Yishtachavo, if one shechted and burnt fats or did libation or bowed to Avodah Zarah, B'Halam Echad, all was done, not knowing that between each Maisa that he did something wrong, that he had sinned, in Chayv Alachas, he's only going to be Chayv for one Chatas for all of them. Amalei, Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Zakkai, book, Neilevra, go out, learn your brayso outside, don't learn it over here. It's a mistake.
How do you speak that way?
Rabbi Zakkai, this that Rabbi Zakkai said, this brayso that Rabbi Zakkai learned, that if he did all four Avedas, that he's only going to be Chayv one. He says it's a machlekes ben Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Nosson. What are we making a ganze Sturm, Rabbi Yochanan? Look what happened. The time we learned in Abraisa that the Torah singled out when it says you shouldn't do any melachis on Shabbos, and we learned it out from Melachas HaMishkan, which is samuch to the issue of not to do any melach on Shabbos. So all those melachis halasa, and then he singled out havara. Leisavar what's it does? Havara, so Rabbi Yossi says, Havara l'lav yotzes. This that he singled out Havara is to tell you it's not the same punishment as all the other malachis, which is by mezid karasu skila. Rather, it's going to be a lav. That's the Rabbi Yossi. Those are the words of Rabbi Yossi. Nos name no chalak yotzes. That if somebody did many malachis, be'alamachas like we just spoke about, but now we're not talking about Avodah Zarah, Shabbos. Did a whole bunch of malachis be'alamachas, not knowing the difference between each one, that he sinned. He didn't realize. B'shegeg. He's only going to be chayv one. He's going to be chayv for each and every one. Look, Alik. Even though it was be'alamachas in one shot, he never realized between each malacha. Not only, he did 5, 6 malachas. So we're going to talk about what was the shegeg here. Okay, says the Gemara, according to the Mandam that says that this that they singled out Havara is to downgrade the punishment of Havara from a Kadas and Skila to a Lav Malchus. So we know when it comes to Avodah Zarah, the Torah also singled out, because the Torah already said in general that you're not allowed to serve idols. And so it includes all the Avedas. So now, then he singles out Hishtachava. Why did he single it out? Obviously, there, Lalav Yotzes, that it's not going to have Kares, B'mezid, and a Kab Mechatas B'shegeg. Only to tell you that it's Malchus. Yeah. So, according to the one, Rabbi Nosson, that says have Orla Chalik Yotzes, that he singled out Havara to downgrade Havara. Hishtachava, not Chalik Yotzes. So we could say, the same thing when they singled out the Ishtachava by Avodah Zarah is also to tell you that if he did many the Avedas together without finding out in between that he sinned between each Aveda, that he's only going to be Chayiv one Chatas. So 1 minute. So the brayso that Rabbi Zakkai learned, you could say he learned like Shitas Rabbi Yossi. That what was the shita of Rabbi Yossi? That Hishtachava is to downgrade, that it's only Lalav Yotzes, but if you did all the malachas together as one, you'll taka be chai one chatas, because he doesn't learn like Rab Nosson, that the reason why they singled out Havara is to tell you that even if he did many malachas at once, he's going to be chai for each and every one. Rather, he's going to hold like Rabbi Yossi. Now we understand where Zakkai was coming from. He learns like the shita of Rabbi Yossi. Maskal Rabbi Yossi is takasha. Dumat kam loikam Rabbi Yossi hasam. Havara lelav yotzes the nafkel chilik melachis. Malchus behena. He says I can understand Rabbi Yossi how when he learns when Havara was singled out, it was singled out to downgrade the punishment of Havara, but because he already had a pasuk to tell us that if you did many melachas on Shabbos together without realizing between each melacha that you're going to be chayiv for each and every one, he learns it out from the pasuk. Daber b'nei Yisrael leim nefesh ki sachta b'shgaga mikol mitzvah Hashem asher l'Yisrael hasanah also mei achas meheina. And the Gemara will say how we learn it out that he's going to be chayiv for each and every one, but that's only by Shabbos. You're telling you like the learn from Rabbi Yossi, but also achas meheina. So he says, what do we learn out from that pasuk? He learns out from that pasuk that Pi'omim shechayiv achas al kulan. At times he'll be chayiv one chatas for all of them. So the Gemara is saying that Rabbi Yossi had a place from where to learn out that if you did many malachis b'helam achas, you're going to be chayiv for each and every one. But so that's why when the Torah singled out Habara, he says, okay, we already know if you do b'helam achas, you're chayiv for each and every one. So why did the Torah single out Habara? It's obviously to downgrade the malacha. And how does he learn it out from us? He says, at times that you can be you chayiv a chatas one for many averes, and pi'amim shechayiv al kol achas ve'achas, and at times you can be chayiv on each and every one, and which is very simple. Let's say you have to understand what the shegig was. If the shegig was he didn't know it was Shabbos, that's the only avera. So as many malachas he's going to do, it's one. But if he knew it was Shabbos, and he did many malachas, then he's chayiv for each and every one. And the Gemara is going to explain.
Know each malacha was
yeah, then he's chayiv for each and every one. But he's saying, look, Rabbi Yossi, you can't prove that Zakei holds like Rabbi Yossi when it comes to Ishtachava. Because he says, by Ishtachava, we don't have a pasuk to tell us that if you did many malachas together, you're going to be chayiv on each and every one. The first thing you learn is first to tell you you're going to be chayiv on each and every one malacha. Then you can go to the bigger chiddush. Oh, we downgrade the punishment from what the Torah says. That is skila, mezit is kares and achatas, whatever, to love. But before you jump to that big chiddush, you have to do the smaller one and say if you did many malachas together, you're going to be chayiv on each and every one. By Hishtachava, we don't have any limud from elsewhere to learn out that you're going to be chayiv for each and every one. So Hishtachava can only be going on that and not lelav yotzas. So how did Rabbi Yossi think by Hishtachava he's going to be only chayiv one? Okay, Rabbi Yonason, it's not my time. Rabbi Yossi, what's the reason? Rabbi Yossi. So how's he dashing it? It says it says twice a man. It could have said achas, and it says meyachas. That's one man. It says mehena. It could have heina mehena. So you have two, and then the Torah could have said just achas without writing heina. So what do we learn out? Achas shehi heina. You can have one avera, which will be considered as many averas, and you'll be chayiv many chatois. Heina, then you can have many averas. Shehi achas. That's one avera, meaning will be only considered as one avera. You chayiv one chatos. Achas. Without the mem, continuing, it is mashma that he did a complete aveda. Rabbi Yonason continues. When you say achas, I would say achas means if he did a complete aveda, like he wrote the name Shimon. That's what he intended to write. Meyachas is coming to tell us that even if he didn't write the name, the full malach that he intended to do, he wrote shame out of Shimon. He'll still be chayiv. That's what we learn out from Mei Achas. Heina, without the mem, tells us about the Avis. Only if you did Avis Malachis, that's where you're going to be Chayiv. Meheina is coming to tell you, even those Malachis that are similar to the Avis, which are called Toldas, he's come to tell you, you're also going to be Chayiv. Achas Shehi Eina, what does it mean? One, which is many Malachis. What's the case that you'll be Chayiv? Meaning, it's one avera even for many malachis. What's the case? Zodin Shabbos, that he was amazing on Shabbos. V'shigres malachis. He knew it was Shabbos today. And maybe I didn't say the words right. Achas one shehiena, even though it's one helem, but heina was many malachis. Is going to be chayv for many malachis, even though it's one. What was the one that he was amazing on Shabbos? The other ones, he was on the malachas, he was a shegeg. And the pasuk has come to tell us, even though the main aveda was that he was amazing on Shabbos, he's still going to be chai for each and every malacha. Heina, what is the case of Heina Sheyachas? Many avedas, which turns out that he's only going to be chai for one aveda. So he must shiggy as Shabbos. He didn't know it was Shabbos. So Uzday Malachis, and he was amazed on the Malachis. He knew the Malachis are Asur, but he didn't know today was Shabbos. So for that, he's going to be chayiv for each. No, he's going to be chayiv for each and every one. He didn't know. The first one is he knew it was Shabbos, and he didn't know about the Malachis. So so he's chayiv for each and every one of the Malachis. But if he didn't know it was Shabbos, so that's the Aveda, not knowing it was Shabbos. And all the malachas that he did, he's still going to only be chayiv for one. Zog the Gemara, so Rav Yosef answers kasha aval hacha. When it comes to the Isa Aveda Zara, the loy nafke lechilik melacha is miduch drachrina. He doesn't have like this me'achas mehina, another pasuk teaching you that if you did many melachis, at times you'll be chayiv for each and every one. So he only has that Havara was. I'm sorry, that Ishtachava was singled out. So the Kuliyam in such a case, Ishtachava lechalak yotzes. Everybody's going to agree that you stake the smaller chiddush. That it's come to tell you that if you did many melachis, even though it was by lamachas, you're going to be chayiv for each and every one. By Ishtachava, because we don't have a pasuk.
So what does he only get? It's only allowed.
No, he's lechalak yotzes. That's a smaller chiddush. To downgrade what the Torah says the punishment is for Oived Avodah Zarah to allow, that's a much greater chiddush. So you first start off, he's talking about with a smaller chiddush. Lechalak yotzes, that if he did many avodas for the Beis Hamikdash by Machas, he's going to be chai for each and every one. Everybody will agree because he doesn't have the other chiddush.
But what kind of punishment going to get? The same thing?
It's one punishment. If it's b'shegeg, he'll be a chatas for each and every one. So now we have a problem. That's why Rabbi Yochanan told Zakkai, get out. Everybody agrees when it comes to Ishtachava. The only pshat we could learn is Lechalak Yotzis. That's the only pshat. And Lechalak Yotzis means he's chai for each and every one. And Zakkai said that if you did 4 avodas behelamachas, you chai 1. He says, but according to the way we're learning, the only pshat that the Torah singled out Ishtachava could only be Lechalak Yotzis because we don't have any other limudim to tell us lechalak yotzes. Right. Zog the Gemara, the Brais. Yeah, a chatas b'shegeg, even though it was done by halamachas, and Zakkai said you only chayiv 1. So that's why he told Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan told Zakkai, take your Brais and take it out of here, learn it elsewhere. So he says, really, we could say the Brais was learned kishitas Rabbi Yosef, and he holds that Ishtachava was downgraded to a love. And really, you're going to be chai behalamachas. Chilik malachas na'avedas nami. This that we that for differences of avedas for avedas zara, tefik le'machas mehina. We can also learn out from the same pasuk that we learned out in the Geit to Shabbos, because me'achas mehina was not written by Shabbos. If you look in Rashi, he says the akos me'achas mehina nichta bepashas chatas bistam. It was written in Pashas Chatas Mistam, Ve'enim Misyachas La'avida Misuyamis. Im Kain, Nidish is Hakas Al-Kol Protat Gamba Avida Zara, but Nilma Menu Chiluk Avida Ba'avida Zara. Just like you learned Benegeya to Malachas of Shabbos, this pasuk is universal. You can learn the same limud for Avida Zara. Zog the Gemara, as he says, so the Gemara explains how. He says, Achas, without the Mem, it comes to tell us zvicha, that it has to be a full avodah of zvicha, that you have to count the both simanim. Mei achas comes to teach us even siman echad, even if he shachted only the kana or the veshet, one of the pipes in the neck for avodah zara, you're still going to be chai misa. Heina, it's without a mem. It says me heina. So what is a heina without a? What's the mem coming to teach us? Avos. He's coming to teach us on avodas that the Torah explicitly states that you're chayav for. Zibuach, kitun, nisa, v'ishtachava. Those are explicitly stated, that we learn out whatever avodas were done in the pnim of the Beis Hamikdash, and he uses those avodas for a getchka. Even though it's shaloi kedaka, that's not the way you serve it. But if he used those avodas that were used inside the Beis Hamikdash, either shechting or burning the fats or libation, pouring the wine or bowing, that are in the Beis Hamikdash. So if you use it for idols, even though it's not the derech to use, that's not the derech avodah for the idols, you're going to be chai. But that's what the Torah explicitly states. That's what we learn out from the Mehena. So, I'm sorry, that's what we learn out, from Hena. Okay, Mehena, what is the mem, the extra mem coming to teach us, told us. Any avodah that's similar to that, like Sheshiber Makalafaneha, he broke a stick in front of the Avodah Zarah. That's doima to shechting a behema because you're breaking its neck. So too, you're breaking the stick. So he's come to tell you, even though it's not the derech for that getchka to break a stick there, but if he does, he's still going to be chai misa because it's al derech zmicha. That's what we learn out from the extra mem. Achas shehi heina. What does it mean? One aveda which he'll be chayv for avedas rabbis. That's zedoin avedas kechavim. He knew it was avedas zara, but with shikigas avedas. He knew that what he's in front of is avedas zara, and he knew that the Torah asks to serve avedas zara. But he thought that the only thing that's us is zvicha. But he did potatoes, he burned fats, he did libation, he bowed to the Avodah Zarah. So the Pasuk is coming to tell us that even though they're all included in the one Issa of Avodah Zarah, he's chayiv chatas for each and every Avodah. Heino shiachas, what does it mean? Many, which will turn out only to one chatas. Shigigas Avodah Zarah. He didn't know he's standing in front of Avodah Zarah. And he was doing Avedis, but he knew every Aveda he's doing is Aveda Zarah. But he didn't know that he's standing on Aveda Zarah when he did all these things. So they'll only be chai for one. What does it mean? He didn't know it was Aveda Zarah, and he was doing Avedas. What was going on? Tell me, what are you shechting, burning fats? What in front of what? What was he doing it? In the Luften Stamazay, it's just in the Welterei. No, so what was the purpose? He says, if he thought it was a shul, and he bowed because he thought it was a shul, and he bowed towards the Aron Kodesh or whatever. He thought it's Aron Kodesh, and then he found out, no, that's Avodah Zarah he's bound to. But his heart was to the Shamayim. He can't be Mechayev. Ella the Chazan Darta. Only it's talking about he saw a statue in the form of a king, and it was Avodah Zarah. But he didn't think it's Avodah Zarah. He thought it's a statue. Like you have a Statue of Liberty. It's statues. And he bowed it, and then he found out, oh, this is Avodah Zarah. So then he's not going to be chayiv chatas either. The manavshach. Oh, so but people. Oh, but mention machen das var statues for Avodah Zarah. Yeah, so he says that's what the Gemara is saying. If he accepted this statue like everyone else has Avodah Zarah, amazing, then he's amazing. This doesn't mean achat. He says amazing. It's chayim misa. But if he didn't accept it as Avodah Zarah, love klumi. It's nothing. He thought it's not Avodah Zarah. Ella says the Gemara in the case is me'avo me'yirah. This is all the Gemara from yesterday. So why did he bring the korbanos over there? He made a barbecue. Ma'avo me'yirah says the Gemara. He did it because he loved the king or feared the king. So he bowed, but he knew it was Avodah Zarah, but he thought if I'm doing it out of love of the king or I'm fearing the king, I'm not going to be over. He thought. So statue of a king. Haman gemacht a statue, and he himself stood around. Yesterday we learned about that. So it makes sense according to Abaye, who says that he's chayiv. I understand he's chayiv because even though he thought you're allowed, even though he knew it was Avodah Zarah, but he did it at me'ava v'yira. So according to Abaye, he's chayiv. It makes sense why he's chayiv achatas. Rav the Yama pata, but the Rav says if he did it out of fear because he was afraid, he's pata ma'iklamema. So what are you going to say now? What do you mean? What is the case of shigigas avedis kechavim that he's going to be chayiv one chatas? That's going to be you said that's the case of heina shehi achas, that he did many avedis, but he's going to be chayiv one, and you're saying what is the case? That he knew it was an idol, the statue, but he did it out of love and fear. So according to Abaye, it makes sense. You take a chayiv achatas, so it makes sense. You did a lot of avedis, you chayiv for one. But according to Rava says he's part of the gami. So how do you say?
Why does Abaye say only one if you knew that it was a statue, even though he has an excuse why he did it?
So, but he thought he's potter because he's doing it out of fear. He didn't. It's not like to him. It's not. He's not chayiv for Avodah Zarah in his eyes.
So even though he did all kinds of avodah.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But he thought he's not going to be chayiv for anything because it's out of fear. So, but he's
afraid of the king. What was he?
yes. Or yes, they will then because he was afraid of Haman. What are we going to say then?